Hello and welcome to a VO's Journey podcast. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about the most important thing that you should be doing in your business. I'm really excited to talk to you about this topic because most of my success, I would say 80% of my success has come from 20% of actions. And over time, I've really learned that the more I do in a lot of cases, the actual less money I make. And I realize that there are a few actions that I need to take on a regular basis, and the rest of them are honestly just a waste of time. And I want to talk to you about it. All right, so let's do it.
This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica.
All right, so welcome back. It's so good to have you. Real quick, just before we get started, just know our course of the week is Upwork 101, how to make your first $1,000. And also, if you are already on Upwork, it's updated, so we go over the gigs and everything. It's a fantastic course. There'll be a link below and one at avosjourney.com. Check it out. Don't miss it. You won't be sorry. It'll help you get up and running on Upwork. There's a lot of people really rocking it right now, and that course will definitely help you out. So let's go ahead and dive into this idea of the 80-20 rule. It really is a pretty incredible rule if you don't know about it. So I think the person's name was Vilfredo Pareto, I think his name was, right? And he was Italian economist, and he noticed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. So he, from that came the Pareto principle, right? Which is commonly known as the 80-20 rule. And, as time went on, all right, we've all found out that this applies to so much more than just land, like, for example, 80% of companies profit from 20% of its customers, or 80% of road traffic accidents are caused by 20% of drivers. 80% of software usage is by 20% of users. 80% of complaints, company complaints, come from 20% of its customers. We all know that stat. 80% of wealth is owned by 20% of people, right? We also know that 80% of our money comes from 20% of our customers. Okay, and I mean, this is a rule that has just been proven time and time again. It's really intriguing. So if you stop and think about this, and I've thought a lot about it, right? At the core of what I do, and what you do as a voiceover actor, but as a business owner, you know what I mean? At the core of what we do, what are those actions, that make us money and the ones that don't? So if you stop and think and you say 80% of the money we make, all right, is from 20% of the actions we take. What are those actions? And I can tell you straight away that those actions all the way revolve around pretty much your marketing. Seriously. Okay. It's a really interesting thing to think about it. If you consider that if you were to do a deep dive into your expenses, right? And you trim off some stuff here. You stop going out to eat a couple of days over here, buy a few less Starbucks a month. You're going to save some money, right? But the money you save is going to be very minimum, right? Very minimal. But if you just increase your marketing by 10%, right? Like your marketing by 10%, if you just get 10% better, think of how much money that would affect you, how much money, extra money you would have. And we have to admit, right? There's not really that much that can't be solved through more money. We have business problems, we have life problems. I mean, I'm not meaning to be shallow, and I don't think money is everything. But the reality is there's not much that money can't fix. Right? It's the truth. So, we need to go where the money is, and the money is through marketing. And even as voiceover actors, we've got to recognize that marketing is key. So as I looked at my business, and as I continue to look at my business, I've created a list. And a very small list, remember, because I said, 20% of the actions create 80% of the money or the results that I get. And I created a little snapshot of this on my wall. I got some chalkboard paint and painted a little small section of my wall. And every day it has a date on it. And it has about 5 different activities. Right? There's a few other things on there that I track, but there's like 5 different activities that I have on that. And 3 really, there's really 3 to 4 that I actually really focus on every day, and that I do consistently that get results. The rest of everything else I do, in essence, is a waste of time. Okay, really. All right. Now, again, we're going out on a limb. I'm not talking about when I'm creating something, right? Or you're making your product or you're creating your demo, these things that, we do that we had to have as business owners, right? Or as the products itself. But I'm saying once we have those products, okay, and besides us delivering our products, which is operation, there is a certain set of activities that I do every single day. And if I just did those activities and nothing else, I would continue to I could go and watch TV for the rest of the day, right? Perfect example. My YouTube videos that I do. Okay. I do those every single day. That has been one of the most successful marketing tools, okay, that I've ever created, along with a VO's Journey Facebook group. That has been a very successful marketing tool for me when it comes to my coaching business, right? My voiceover business, it has been an extremely successful tool for me on Fiverr and the Voice Realm. Those have been very successful using those in tandem with my website. Okay, but the auditions and the samples on Fiverr, doing daily requests on buyer requests, those few actions generate 80% of my business. The videos I do every day, that leads people to get to know me. People find me. People follow the links I provide to my Facebook group. In the Facebook group, they get to know me more. I post more links in there. I interact with people in there. It's a great group. All right. There are many wonderful voice actors in that group who do a lot to help the community. But through that, right, I can also show people all of the different services I offer. Okay. And all of that itself is all marketing, right? So everything else that I do, honestly, that 20% of that work goes into those items I just said. This podcast, all right, my blog, which I'm poor at. If I wanted to make more money, I got to get better at doing these actions, these marketing actions that I know work. You want to get more voiceover business, you need to get the actions that work. You need to focus on those actions. 7 to 10 auditions a day. Okay, making sure that you are adding to your blog on your website, making sure you are posting on social media, directing people to your website or directing people to your Fiverr account. making sure that you are doing those marketing activities that are going to produce the 80% of the revenue. Okay? It is shocking to me how simple it is to step back and see what needs to be done, but the challenge that we run into doing it, because there's so many questions arise, right? Like the question comes up, okay, well, how do I do this? You know what I mean? How do I do social media? How do I do my website? What's the right stuff to put on it? What's the wrong stuff to put on it? If you take a step back again, okay, and this is again where you got to look, if we take a step back and you apply it again, all right, there's 20% of actions. Okay, there's 20% of your website that's going to produce 80% of the results. So figuring out what that 20% is, right? A call to action on your website, a demo page. Okay, what is it? Sending them to that page, a checkout page, sending them, like what is the 20% part, 20% on your website that's going to create the 80%. Finding that has got to be key, right? Getting people signed up for something, getting their information, maybe sending them to a checkout page, just like, a block on like Fiverr. Okay, like what is it that you can, utilize this rule everywhere? Every time you go to approach something, look at it from this 80-20 rule. What are the 20%, what is the 20% of things I need to do in order to generate that 80% of work? Because that's generally it, right? Like, for example, when we get on our website, we worry about color and the formatting. All of that stuff matters. Yes, I'm saying it matters, and it matters, but it matters incrementally. Okay? There are more important things. Like, for example, when someone goes to your website, where do they go to get a voiceover? It's a simple question. I've worked with a lot of voice actors, and I've looked at a lot of websites. And you'd be surprised, maybe not, because maybe you're one of them, but you'd be surprised that when you go, how many websites there are out there that don't even tell you how to get a voiceover from these people. It's more like a fancy resume, or you know what I mean, of what they do or who they are or the work they have, but it's not geared simply towards saying, hey, you need a voiceover? Click here. All right. And when they click here, it say, hey, this is how you order the voiceover. Put in your script here. Send me the message here, and I will reply to you within 24 hours. You will get your reply at your email. Then once I reply to you, I will send you an invoice. I mean, if you wanted to do it that way. Once you pay the invoice, I will record your voiceover and send it to you. Right? Like, I just went through that process, but you'd be surprised. Like, does your website say that? Does your website make it that simple? Okay. Remember, it doesn't need to have, it doesn't need to be all this crazy stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you don't want to build out your website. You absolutely need to build out your website, right? Once you get that part down, then you start doing a blog, right? Then you start for SEO purposes, right? Getting yourself seen, getting people to find you. Okay. However, right? Rich, wealthy people. Okay. Think of it this way. And this was something I learned when I was younger. All right. Middle-class people, or people with, or even poor people, they will work and spend more time to save money. Whereas rich and wealthy people, they will spend more money to save time. This is a secret of leverage, right? I've talked about leverage a lot. And over the last, I'd say even couple of weeks, it's come up to me a lot from a lot of people They say, which is always a wonderful compliment. They say, Anthony, it's so amazing all that, like, you're everywhere all the time, and you're doing all this stuff. When do you ever stop? You're always working. And people are shocked to find out that I actually don't work that much anymore. Okay, like in the scheme of things, I don't work that much anymore. I mean, I do Fiverr Fridays, but I don't really work on Fridays. I don't work on Saturdays anymore. I don't work on Sundays. Okay, I'm done at 5 p.m. I don't really start work until 9 or 10 in the morning. I do, my videos, but here's the thing. I do my voiceovers, but I have a social media person who is my production guy, and I pay him. He does a wonderful job, but he basically takes my content, breaks it up, posts it. It makes it look like I am everywhere all the time. But you see, I pay him for time. Do you see what I mean? And because I do that, I have more time to do more of the 20% of stuff that's going to generate that 80% and more. Do you see what I mean? This is a secret that a lot of us are never taught. I was never taught this, and I never figured it out until I failed a whole crap load. Right. And then as time went on, I'm going to be square with you. I stumbled upon these things. I did not have like this master plan epiphany. It was me just working and things starting to work, and me paying attention to what was working, and then me starting to focus on other things like, how is this business running? How can I look at this from a business owner standpoint and not just a really good technician or a really good actor or a really good voiceover artist, right? Or a really good teacher or a really good educator, whatever. Like, how can I look at this from a business standpoint? And that has nothing to do with being cold or not caring. Like, that's not true, right? That just like they say, like plumbers or whoever, but like you take like a plumber, the best plumber doesn't make necessarily the best business owner. Just because they know how to be the very best plumber or electrician or voiceover artist doesn't mean they're going to be a great business owner. You have to dedicate yourself to the idea, right, that you're running a business first, and then you are the voice actor, the plumber, the engineer, the electrician second. Okay? And since we are 90% of us, I'd say 95% of us, right? We are ourselves the product, right? Our voiceovers are, okay? It can be very difficult for us to separate those two, okay? Whereas like I've got to do the work, I've got to do that work, but then I'm also I'm running the business, okay? So that's why you see a lot of people in our industry who can make a few dollars, but they struggle when they're trying to get to that next level, right? They struggle to keep their head above water. They work really hard because they're not focusing their efforts on that 20% and realizing that their job as a business owner really comes first before their job as a voice actor. Here's a perfect example, and I've always said this to people, right? What is the lifeblood of your business? The lifeblood of your business is not heart and soul, okay? The lifeblood of any business is cash and cash flow. And this is important. I've learned this over time, you guys. It's changed, it's changed my business. It's changed the trajectory of my life, right? It's just understanding some of these things. Cash flow is key. You have to have, again, just like I said in the beginning of this podcast, there is not much that more money can't solve. There's not much more problems in your business that more money can't solve. There's not much more problems that money can't solve. Here's the thing. Cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. So you've got to always be focused on cash flow. All right? And don't get this mixed up with, you only care about money. That's not what this is about. This is about, the business being able to sustain itself and grow so that you can then focus on the things that you want to focus on. Okay, so if cash flow is the lifeblood of your business, which it is, and it is necessary, Everything else that is not related directly to you getting that business, that cash flow coming in, really is a waste of your time. It is not the most necessary thing you need to be doing. Okay? So as you look at your marketing plan, if you look at your business plan in general, God forbid you don't have a business plan. Okay, if you don't have a business plan, that's part of your problem right off the bat. You got to have a plan. But then is your plan tailored towards what I've been talking about today, this 80-20 rule? Is it full of a bunch of nonsense? Meaning like, is it full of just a bunch of random stuff that you're never going to pay attention to? You're going to look at it and toss it, over on another desk. Or is it filled with the actions that you need to be taking to best utilize your time and effort in order to make the most money possible? Okay, this is what I want you to think about and focus on. And what I do a lot of times is I sit and think, what is it that I need to do, the actual things that I need to do that are going to make me the most money, that are going to make me, that are going to increase the most. Here's the thing. You can find all sorts of ways. I love this, and there's nothing wrong with this. But take, for example, someone who really spends hours and hours on couponing. I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I think couponing is pretty cool, and what you can do, I think it's amazing, right? But you spend hours and hours on couponing, and you know what I mean? You can save a decent amount of money, right? But imagine if you spent hours and hours and hours on making just 10 to 15% more, money than you currently make. You are going to make a lot more money doing the latter than you will couponing. Okay. Now I understand there's the couponers out there that I've seen that, are like a amazing machine that just finds every coupon and ends up spending 30 cents over a couple $100. I mean, that's amazing. I would say that that's not the majority of people. Right. But the reality is that, again, whatever you focus on, make sure you're also focusing on the thing that's going to make you the most money, that's going to be the biggest bang for your buck, give you the most leverage. Because there's a lot of activities you and I can do that'll give us a little bump. But what are the things that are going to give us the biggest bump? And how can we spend the most time on those things? Again, that 80-20 rule is pretty crazy. It really works. And if you think about it and you always look at your business through the lens of, am I doing the right amount of actions that are needed to make me, to keep me getting the most amount of money as I can, for the time I'm spending, then I should do that. But if it's not, I need to rethink what I'm doing and shift. So important. You guys, I hope that this has helped you and helped you think about some stuff, helps you think about, what you're currently doing, this 80-20 rule, how it can help you grow your business and change your life. And it's changed mine. It really has. And I'm super excited to pass it on to you. And I hope that, you sit down for a moment and consider what you're spending all your time on. And are you really focused on the right things, or is most of your time just going by? And on a side note, if you are struggling knowing what you're spending your time on, take that opportunity to get a piece of paper and track your time down to the minute every day when you're in your booth or you're working. And seriously, and be honest with yourself, track what you are doing, what you're actually doing. And then after 2 weeks, take a look at what you've done and how much time. Add up your time. And most times, I've done this with my students, they are shocked about how much time they are not spending actually marketing. They're usually spending 80% of their time, doing all the other stuff, right, that they should be spending, actually doing to make money. But they're spending the majority of their time doing all the things that don't make money, as opposed to switching their efforts. But you're not going to know that unless you start tracking your time. All right, gang, thank you again so much. Remember, our course of the week is the Upwork 101 course. Again, this is a great course to leverage your time, right? Because Upwork is doing the work. That's why I love these websites, right? They're bringing the people there. You can go on there, quickly check and see if there's work. Send proposals, put up gigs, which they market for you. You know what I mean? It's just, again, it's another site that does a lot of the work for you, right? And it helps you leverage money. OPM, OPT, other people's money, other people's time. All right, gang, thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will talk to you soon. Peace.